Hey, it's September 6th, and we're going to talk about American Horror Story Asylum. You may or may not know that Halloween Horror Nights is doing another haunted house based on American Horror Story, and this year they are covering Asylum, Coven, and Roanoke. I have only seen Asylum. Andrew has seen Asylum and Roanoke, but since we've both seen Asylum and we both finished it quite recently, we're going to talk about that today. So for those of you who don't know what American Horror Story is, it is a serialized horror drama created by Ryan Murphy, who is the creator of Glee.
And Brad Falchuk.
Yes.
Also in that team.
And it's serialized, meaning that each season is a completely different setting, completely different story, completely different characters, with a few overlaps sprinkled in, but using the same actors, which is kind of cool.
Yeah,
it's got to be neat as an actor, too.
It's been established that it's all in the same timeline. So there are characters or family bloodlines and names that you sometimes pop up between the seasons. Every season is going to be different plots, and they're all closed within their own loop. So episodes 1 through 12 or 13, depending on the season, that's going to be a full story arc. We're not getting a cliffhanger to the next season.
Which is really nice. It makes it good for binging, because when you finish the season, you're done. And that's pretty nice. And allows them to drastically change. So the first season, Murder House, is about people in an actual, haunted place.
Yeah, it's kind of traditional, but with some twists.
And then Asylum goes in a completely different direction.
Yeah.
Spoilers ahead for those of you who haven't seen it.
Starting right now.
Yeah. There are aliens. I'm just going to start right there with that.
It's kind of a weird take. Honestly,
with very little payoff. It was maybe my only problem with this season, is that there were aliens who kidnapped people and
created children.
Well, not even created children, made the children grow exponentially fast.
Like the birthing process happened quickly because they were time and space was different wherever they went.
And then
the only
nothing
payoff is they have a moment near the end of the show, the two kids, that I think it is clear that they are of otherworldliness, but that's the only payoff. Most of the show has nothing to do with aliens, so we're going to get back to the chunk of the story.
Okay. The main story follows this woman named Lana Winters. She comes to the asylum to investigate Kit Walker being accused of being Bloodyface, and she wants to meet a murderer and make her mark by giving an expose. Ends up sort of trapped inside the asylum and lives there. Finds out that Kit isn't Bloodyface, that one of the doctors at the asylum is. Finds out about all this other corruption happening at Briarcliff. And eventually, you follow her story to its completion, where she gets out, she publishes an expose, she shuts down Briarcliff, she kills Bloodyface, and basically triumphs at the end. But the season wraps up with her initial scene arriving at Briarcliff.
I would argue that's the overarching, that's one of many main plots in the show. So there's that one and the alien one, but then the good chunk in the middle is about demon possession, which is a very important plot line. This demon, or the devil, sometimes they say it's actually the devil on multiple occasions, gets a lot of bad things happen in the asylum to a lot of people because of that character. So it really is a huge plot device in the series, because a lot of the other stuff, even though the Lana thing's important, it's literally the beginning and the end, and then she's kind of involved in stuff in the middle. She's a plot that moves along, but it's not the meat of the season, because the meat of the season has to do with the creepy and weird stuff happening at the asylum and a lot of the interpersonal relationships with the characters.
I really liked the demon possession of Sister Mary Eunice, because it was cool to see her purity kind of twisted, and you could see the moments where the actress was playing somebody evil, playing someone innocent versus playing someone innocent. and I thought that was really cool, and I gave kind of a neat flavor to a lot of her actions because everybody else thought of her as this pure nun, which she was in the beginning, incredibly pure and very true and pure of heart. And so to shift from that to you knowing she's a demon but no one else knows was really cool, because you saw these actions that seemed kind and generous and pure but were very much done for terrible, nefarious reasons. And I thought that that was a cool device and also gave kind of a really neat depth to the character. It was a lot more fun before people knew who she was.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the audience knew. So it made it kind of fun to like watch people figure it out. So Jessica Lange's Sister Jude is my favorite thing about the entire season. Just her plot in general, but her character progression from this like harsh person of power to a broken down, insane woman who had been cheated and betrayed, and kind of almost a redemption story in a sense towards the end. I just enjoyed watching someone who clearly was escaping a mistake that she had, trying to be a good person, and then overcompensating because of her feelings for the Monsignor, and becoming a bad person in the process, and then getting betrayed by the Monsignor, by the demon Sister Mary Eunice and Dr. Arden, and becoming an insane asylum patient who is, of course, now with all the people that hate her, and watching that character progression. But her plot at the end with the Kit being rescued by Kit, and her finally accepting death is, to me, one of the coolest plot or character progressions I've seen out of the seasons I've watched of the show. Is a really cool moment because she's got this fear of death and has conversations with the angel of death multiple times, and she finally accepts her, and it's a beautiful shot of her accepting death and death's kiss. And I think it's like one of my favorite things about the entire season. Like, everything else is fun or interesting or whatever, but her particular moment there was so well crafted up to that it meant a lot for that shot, and I was really happy with it.
You mentioned the Angel of Death. I like that character a lot. Aesthetically, especially. Like, the costume. She wears all black. She's got big black wings instead of white wings, which I thought was interesting because it's clearly implied that she is an angel, a good creature.
She's not evil. It's very, very much like, you called upon me and I am here to soothe you.
Yep. And she very much scares the devil that's inside of Sister Mary Eunice. Like, so it's obvious that they're on opposite sides. So I thought it was kind of fun that they took this character that is essentially good and dressed them all in black, which is the color of death. But it's kind of unique. You don't usually dress good angels in black with the black wings. So I liked that a lot. I liked her aesthetic. I liked the way that she moved and appeared. And I liked the relationship she had with different characters. I thought that was really, really cool. One thing that I think this show does well and is trying to do is strong women. The strong women in the show were awesome. The mothers in the Murder House season, like, that season is a lot about what length mothers will go to for their kids. Then this season had two really, really strong females in Sister Jude and Lana Winters, and then also even Sister Mary Eunice.
Yeah, because of the demon possession, but she's a very strong personality in the show.
And I think that that's so cool that they show women who aren't necessarily doing things correctly, but are definitely strong go-getters, you know, out for themselves, ambitious, and they show that whole sphere. And then in Hotel definitely has several strong female characters.
On both ends, on all ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, on all ends of the spectrum, but has a super crazy strong mother character there
and an
as
awesome kind of transgender character too.
Yep, that's true. Yep. And what's the other season we've watched?
Freak Show.
Oh, Freak Show. Yeah, Freak Show definitely has strong female characters.
Again, in good and bad.
Yeah, in good and bad roles, but definitely a strong female characters. And I really like that about this show. I think it makes it different than a lot of the shows I watch on television. Even though a lot of shows I watch on television have good female characters because that's something that draws me, I would say they are very different than what we get in American Horror Story. And despite the fact that we get ridiculous characters in the genre side of things, they are all pretty well rounded. They all have ups and downs and goods and bads. And they are the focal point of the show, which doesn't happen very often in the world of media in general.
And one other thing, their transitions between present day and past.
Yeah, if we want to talk cinematography, they're so beautiful.
There's two that come to mind. There's one, both of them are towards right near the end of the season. There's one where Kit's going to his car and gets in and drives, and as that's happening, the filter is changing to what they're using for the modern day, and behind the car is the modern, like as he's driving, it becomes modern day, and that's where the character that's sitting there in modern day in the same location and going to the bookstore. Really cool shot. And then my other one would be when Lana is in current day doing an interview, because she's kind of like a Barbara Walters character, which is kind of fun. That's clearly really the inspiration. And she goes to look in her compact mirror to do her eyebrows, and as she's starting to do it, they show the mirror, and it's actually her back in 1968 or 70 or somewhere around there, but late 60s. And it's like literal quick transition between like late 60s or 70s from current day, which would have been 2012 when it was filmed.
Overall, it was a very good season. And if you are looking for something to binge, the first 5 seasons are on Netflix. And like we said, they're only 13 episodes long, and it's a self-contained story. So if you just want to sit down and watch Asylum, you can do that and not feel like you're missing out on things by not seeing the other seasons, which is probably one of the highlights of this show as far as watching it goes.
Though I will tell you, later seasons after this will reference earlier seasons, especially starting, I believe, Freak Show is where that kind of starts.
I would recommend this series as a whole, American Horror Story, and I would specifically say that Asylum is enjoyable. Hang on for the ride. It gets a little bumpy in places, more than some of the other seasons, because there's a lot of sort of wild stuff happening, but it pays off very well, and it's a artistically beautifully done season.
I agree. I recommend the whole series of what I've seen, and Asylum's a thumbs up for me. Particularly the final episode, I think, is really beautifully done, because you don't expect it. You expect it to end earlier in the timeline, and you don't expect as much stuff to be happening. You expect either present day or like at the end of them being in the asylum. You don't expect this kind of aftermath that you get to see, which is really cool, and provided some of my favorite moments, honestly.
All right, I'll see you tomorrow.